Thank you for joining us for this episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. People like me, Michelle Kane with VoiceMatters, and my wonderful co-host, Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. Hello, Karen. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great, Michelle. How are you
I'm
doing?
doing pretty well. Yes. As this episode airs, we're hitting that mid-August stride, which means change for so many. For some of us, it means leave me alone. I am still having summer. But for others, it means going back to college, getting ready to go back to school, or just getting ready to go enter another rhythm of life. But that sort of speaks to what we're going to talk about today, where our topic is the PR migration and just things that we're seeing amongst our colleagues and in PR in general. You know, many people are pivoting away from PR or just starting to dabble in other fields like education or maybe even something completely different. So we thought, hey, let's talk about this and see what we might be able to encourage our listeners
Yeah,
about.
isn't it interesting? I get a lot of emails now from PR people that are selling services to PR people rather
Yeah,
than doing PR. So I'm not sure what's behind the number of PR people that are still in the prime of their working years, still have lots of road ahead of them that are like, I'm PR, let me pivot over to something else. If it's just a genuine shift that we're seeing because maybe it's been driven by the climate that we're in.
it could be. It could be. And it could be just a certain number of people are just feeling that need to shift. I know, sometimes even within a job, right? Every few years or so, you just need a little something new, a little different challenge to keep life interesting for yourself. And I wonder how many of our listeners are having those moments of kind of putting their head up and going, huh, well, what else could I be doing?
That's such a great point. You're right that in a traditional job, you don't typically do the exact same job for, year after year after year after year. Your responsibilities shift, you get a different role, you change companies, something changes to keep you on your toes and refreshed. And so
Yeah.
it could be that. Although I have to say that, given some of the challenges that we face today, I can certainly understand those people that are leaving the profession because it's just become really difficult to
Mm,
succeed.
true.
Great example. Forbes now has a policy. It does not, there's different brands of Forbes, but Forbes has this policy now that if they put out a query, they do not want anyone except for the expert to respond. They will not take pitches from PR people, and they call out PR people specifically.
Ay,
So they say, PR people, do not pitch us, but ask your source to contact us directly per Forbes policy. So that's an interesting shift. And
yeah.
one I hope doesn't spread to other outlets. I also almost think, sure, good luck with that, because
Right?
journalists take for granted the amount of value that we truly do bring to that relationship and some of the
Yes.
things that we control and avoid to make sure that they get the very best piece of information possible and that communications are streamlined. I think that they
Yeah.
are seeing us maybe as an annoyance, but
Oh, just wait, Forbes.
we know the backstory on a lot of these things. So again, I could particularly see people poking their head up and going, okay, what else is out there? So we're seeing, what are
Yeah.
you seeing? I'm seeing people do things like sell everything from business development for PR people. So they're PR salespeople who want to sell you on how to sell clients on your behalf, or things like, tools that we use from databases to, pitch tools to, all kinds of things that we utilize. I'm seeing
Yeah.
a lot more of that.
Yeah. And can we just do a shout out to some of those companies? Solo PR pros are not really into buying at the enterprise level. We are solo shops. Yes, we would love to be your customer, but there's usually maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 of us. So just think, if you get 10 solos to buy your product at a decent price point, oh, there's your enterprise. Anyway, I'll rant off.
I agree. We could do an entire episode on the PR industry and the tools market.
Yeah.
And the PR industry in general, it's very unfortunate that in so many instances, everything is directed to large agencies or in-house PR people.
Yeah.
We just get overlooked quite a bit. And that's very sad, because we do the same job.
Yeah.
And we deliver value just like everyone else. And a lot of times we're serving those very big companies, which gives us the power to make referrals and to make recommendations. So that's too bad.
Yeah. And I think maybe a lot of these pivots, like you said, has a lot to do with the way that pure PR has changed. For many years now, it's become, it's grown to be an integrated process. So if you're a PR pro who just really isn't interested in learning about digital marketing or any of the integrated pieces, then it definitely would be a season to say, where can I transfer these skills? How can I do that? Is it time to do some teaching? Is it time to, I don't know. I mean, we know a couple of our colleagues. Yeah.
We have people that are writing books, that are doing courses, that are becoming coaches for PR people, becoming consultants in some other way, or, becoming, going over to the media side and becoming journalists in an area of specialty. We even have a couple of solo PR pros that are running for office, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the great thing about communications is that it's such a fantastic skill set that really allows you to leverage that in any other position that you would choose to create for yourself, or if you're choosing to go and work a traditional job. There's so many skill sets, our crisis management skills, our strategic skills, our storytelling ability. I mean, there's just so many things that we do that are so important across the board. And so I feel like in terms of our careers, we have a lot of options that are open to us.
Yeah. I even think, and of course this partly falls under the PR umbrella, but I was thinking this morning of a situation I'm dealing with, even in the nonprofit world of dealing with sponsors, of how certain things that you might say yes to, how that can color your perception to others, and just ways to make your systems better, your thought processes better. These are all of the bases that we cover in PR, whether it's an outright deliverable to our clients, but I mean, come on, it's who we are. We're always doing it anyway.
Yes, we are.
Troubleshooting.
Really great. What are some of the more interesting, I'm trying to think of some of the more interesting pivots that I've seen outside of, becoming a politician is definitely, but I guess, really that feels adjacent in some ways as well.
Yeah.
What would you do, Michelle?
Oh,
what would you do?
Gosh. Oh my goodness. What do I want to be when I grow up? I joke that I want to be a lady who lunches someday, who just does this stuff for fun, but that's a whole different aspiration.
That is. I think there are a lot of pros on any given day who would join you in that.
That might be, but being realistic, I don't know, maybe something in education. There's something in me that always pulls towards that world. Even counseling to a certain degree. These are all career choices that I dallied with. I knew for myself that I didn't quite have the temperament to do the whole full day in a classroom situation, that kind of teaching. Similarly, when I was younger, I shifted from being a psych major to, what you're good at, writing. Partly because I knew I didn't have it in me at that time to be any kind of counselor.
I love that. And so many solo PR pros do teach. We have a
Yeah.
lot of educators, some that have moved towards
Yeah.
doing that more than, PR for clients, which, I just think that there's such a value to, the education industry. But yeah, we have a lot of
Yeah.
educators. I think that that's natural. I think that most PR pros really have that ability to teach,
Oh, yeah.
because we do quite a bit of education in our work. And so I think that that feels like a natural fit for so
Yeah.
many people.
That's so true. Well, how about you?
Outside of
Anything?
being something in the dog industry, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I have plans to open some kind of a cafe where
Oh,
owners can not just dine with their dogs, but where it's like a combo doggy day camp cafe where people can relax and meet friends, but their dogs can have a concierge and be taken care of. So
I
maybe
love that. I love that. You know,
and
I
then in the shorter term, I'm working on courses and stuff too. I love to, do more content creation and
yeah.
again, teaching, sharing, right?
Yeah. Right.
Helping others with their careers.
Yeah, so true. So true. Sidebar about the dog combo thing. I once told my groomer, I said, "You know what? You need to open up a day spa so that when my dog's getting groomed, I get like a little mini facial and we,
I love that.
we all have a day at the spa, not just
There's
this
a
guy.
lot written about the dog economy, as they're calling it,
Dog
because
economy.
we're spending a lot on our fur babies,
We
and
are.
more people are really, embracing. Thank you, everyone who's doing that. Dogs is really truly being a part of our family. So yeah, there's big opportunities in that market.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing about what we do because we don't come to our desks every day and move widgets from one page to the next.
Yeah.
Our jobs are really creative. So that lends itself to transferring that whole mindset to everything you do, you know?
Yes.
It really does. So, and the beautiful thing about doing this line of work is you may discover some hidden talents along the way that you never realized. It depending, let's say you're pitching a certain story about a certain company or their new initiative, or maybe it's a nonprofit, just think how big your world gets. So if you're not thinking about a pivot now, start thinking in that way of, okay, these people that I meet, it's not just, all right, I'll do this thing and then next.
Yeah.
Hey, if you really need to, follow up with that person and learn more about what they do just because it interested you.
Yeah, and we certainly have it. We've even had people as guests on our shows. Major comes to mind. She has a popcorn
Yeah.
company. She still does PR, but she has a very successful popcorn company. By the way, she's got a new flavor out, so go check her out. So the sky is really the limit. If you have something else that you're interested in, by all means, you can pursue it in addition to doing PR. And some of us pursue, we have our own side gigs because for me, I think of my side gig as something that I want to pivot to in retirement
Right.
and move away from the day-to-day client work and move over into doing something a little bit different. So yeah, there's lots of interesting examples out there. And I think that we should all be thinking about that. And with this economy, it's been a wake-up call for, I think, for a lot of people that it's very helpful to have multiple revenue streams. And that's
Mhm.
always been the case, but there are ways to achieve that. You can achieve that through investing, of course. But it doesn't hurt to have like a plan B for yourself.
Right. No, that's so true. It's interesting. Just this last week, I have made myself be more conscious about doing more voiceover auditions just because, yeah, it's to the point where the mechanisms are in place that it's not so arduous. Before I would have to print out the script and hook up my Yeti. And now it's like, oh, let me plug in my headphone here, bing bang boom. And just say to myself, well, duh, Michelle, you can do that in the first 15 minutes of your day. Now, did I do it today? No.
I love that though,
That's
because
okay.
you're so perfect for that. You're
Oh, that's
good
sweet.
at it. And you're right, there are so many different avenues and channels right now that
Yeah,
are looking for that. So
yeah, yeah.
that's so perfect. I love it. I love it. I'm so
Uh,
here for it.
we'll see, we'll see. But I see too, I've seen some people, they're not PR pros per se, but they're in the comms business, just either niching down on what they do,
Yes,
as opposed to being something for everyone. They're deciding really, and I think too, it's probably a combination of post-pandemic, the economy, everything, just really determining, you know what, this is what we do really well. We want to focus on this. And with that comes opportunity for collaboration to fill those gaps that it's not to say, well, we only do this. But
definitely. Well, Katie Booz, great example of that.
yes.
Really found that she loved the thought leadership. And
Yeah.
so she specializes in that. That's what
Yeah.
she does. She doesn't do any of the other things anymore. She specializes in that. Helen Nail is someone that I met through Lunch Club. She's a PR pro, not in the US, but in the UK. She
Yeah.
also made a pivot into thought leadership in a different way, where she started out hosting these video interviews with CEOs and enterprise leaders. And now she's turned that into a whole thing. So she has a studio, and that's all
Oh,
she does
that's
is
fantastic.
thought leadership. So
Yeah.
yeah, we should have Helen on the program one day too to talk about
Yeah,
it. She's
that
a
would be great.
lovely human being and solo, like our audience. So yeah, there's so many creative things that we can do. We have so many talents that we can use them in so many different ways.
Yeah, we do. We do. And I think it could be an instance of, okay, we've all been through a lot in these last several years, and it kind of feels like the vibe is, okay, let's let's stop and take a beat and take a breath and see, okay, where am I? I made it through, I think, and just kind of check in with ourselves. And I think that's good to do periodically, no matter what's happening. But I realize we're all coming out of some serious survival mode. But we just wanted to get you all thinking today. So if hopefully this has inspired you, we say that every week because we always try to inspire you, but we really do want to hear from you. What would you want to do if you could do anything in your next career pivot? Hit us up at soloprpro.com. Share this around, talk about it with your friends. Until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.